Is SG-1 a superhero team? Hi, I'm Jordan the Nerd of Gold, and I know that might seem like a weird question, but I recently released my definitional standards of who is and who isn't a superhero. So I thought it would be interesting to explore these characters who may not be superheroes, or who may be, and we just don't think of them like that. So I had already did the Jedi, and I did a Starfleet captain, so now it's time for SG-1. So I wanted to look at this piece by piece, but I do want to say that I am a fan of Stargate. I've watched all 10 seasons of it and the movies. I've finished most of Atlantis, but I never actually finished that one, and I did watch Stargate Universe. So enough of that, let's get on with it. I'm also considering SG-1, since they're a small enough unit, as a superhero team rather than looking at them as individuals, kind of like the Fantastic Four as a team. So, number one, do they have power/skill? Yes, I would say that between their academic knowledge with Dr. Samantha Carter and Dr. Daniel Jackson, that yes, that they are on par with any super genius that we see in Marvel or DC, or at the very least they would make it in there and talk to the super geniuses in any comic books. And with Teal'c and Jack O'Neill, that they have enough tactical and strategic knowledge to be on par with the majority of any fighters that we see in universe in Marvel or DC on that front. Number two, do they have a secret identity? I would say no on that front. They don't have anything resembling a secret identity. They do have mission-based disguises that they sometimes return to, I think, every once in a while, if memory serves right, but they don't have anything that would resemble a superhero's secret identity. Do they have a heroic identity? I would say at first no, because they are going out in the galaxy. They are an unknown quantity to the largely Goa'uld-controlled galaxy as they try to explore and free people where they can from that control. As we get further and further into the show, yes, I do think they take on a heroic identity that is built through their actions. So I'm going to go with yes on that one. Do they have a special headquarters? I'm going to go with yes. Stargate Command counts as a special headquarters in the same way like the Batcave counts or the Fortress of Solitude counts on that front. Yeah, it is a specific place. It has a lot of different sections to it, including living quarters, a Stargate itself, the whole thing that it's based around. So yeah, I'm going to count that on there, on that front. Do they have a rogues gallery? I don't think so for the most part. I know outside of the Goa'uld, there are a handful of recurring independent villains in there, but none of them are like super villains in the way that we normally think, and most of what they do fight are random political factions outside of the Goa'uld. So I'm going to go with no on that front. It's possible that it's a maybe, but it's a soft maybe leaning toward no on that front. Do they have themed gear/weapons? I want to say no, but Teal'c carries around his Jaffa staff, and I like Teal'c and the Jaffa staff enough that I am going to give it to them for this one. Other than that, no, they carry pretty much standard military gear of the U.S. Army, and I don't think that really counts as themed gear in that sense. That's just tactical gear. So for the people is the next category. So this is talking about the superhero moral system or moral value system, where they are technically criminals, but they act in the on the behalf of the people, because they exist in this little liminal space where they're not technically good guys, but they are good guys. But these SG-1 is a government team. It is fully sponsored by the military. Yes, they occasionally disobey orders. Occasionally they do things outside of mission parameters based on their own conscience, but they are through and through military people, and yeah, I don't think this counts on the for the people part because they are mandated by the government to do what they do. And finally, iconic locations. So this is talking about like Batman has Gotham City, Superman has Metropolis, Spider-Man has Marvel New York. Does SG-1 have an iconic location like that? I mean, outside of the Cheyenne Mountain base and the Stargate Command itself, I wouldn't argue that they do have an iconic location. And like I said, I already counted that as like their special headquarters in the same way that like you have the Batcave. So no, I don't think they have an iconic location on that front. So yeah, let's review. They have power/skill, they have a heroic identity, they have a special headquarters, and I've given them themed gear by a slim margin. So that's 4 markers in their favor, but that's 3 against and 1 maybe that I'm going to give them. And you need 6 to qualify. So no, they are not superheroes, but they are still very cool, and I really would like Stargate to come back. Let me know, are there any other characters that you want to see me examine in this way? That they might be superheroes if we think about it, but we don't really think about it like that. So let me know.